Hello and welcome to a centenary Ladbrokes Cox Plate edition of Valley Form. It's been a terrific build up to the race, but finally we're here. I'm joined as always by the resident Rainman from Ladbrokes. Rainman, Australia's best race has finally arrived.
It's finally here, Benny. We've been waiting all spring for this moment. The Ladbrokes Cox Plate, obviously the highlight, but we're set for an outstanding edition of the Ladbrokes Manikato Stakes on Friday night as well, and just outstanding racing across the entire 2 days. I could not be more excited to be on track Friday and Saturday.
Well, that's where we start. The Ladbrokes Manikato Stakes tomorrow night, 1,200 metres, Group 1. What are your thoughts on the race and who goes on top?
I think it's a really interesting edition of the race. I think it's probably the strongest Ladbrokes Manikato Stakes we've seen in a few years. Ladbrokes market has Palele as the favourite, and I do think Palele is the horse to beat here. He just wasn't suited by the way the race was run in the Moya Stakes. I'm not sure 1,000 metres is really his go. And then he showed plenty of toughness and bravery to win last start in the Scalacci Stakes at Caulfield. I think that 1,200 metres at the Valley, the Ladbrokes Manikato Stakes has always been his major target this preparation. He's going to get a lovely run just behind the speed with James McDonald in the saddle. So Palele clearly the horse to beat here for mine. I think the danger and the best value in the race from an each-way perspective is the 3-year-old Best of Bordeaux. Been racing really well in Sydney this preparation, has drawn wide, but he does have early speed. I think they will ride him aggressively from barrier 12. His last start win in the Roman Consul Stakes was really good as well. So I think he's there to run a really big race. So Palele from Best of Bordeaux for me in the Ladbrokes Manikato Stakes.
I too am with Palele in the Manikato. As you mentioned, Rainman, he was run off his legs first up in the Moya. 1,000 metres isn't his go, but he actually clocked the fastest final 200 metre split of the race, so that was very encouraging. He then went to Caulfield. He won the Scalacci in impressive fashion. He had to take a tight gap there, and he actually copped a whip to the head, which can't possibly help. He now comes here third up, 1,200 metres. That's his preferred trip, and he's drawn barrier 6. That's also perfect. I think this has been a set play by Godolphin. They sent Ingratiating to the Everest, but they really want to get Palele his Group 1 for his stud page. I think he's the best sprinter Godolphin have, and I think he'll be winning at the Manikato. Race 9 on Saturday is the 2022 Ladbrokes Cox Plate, the centenary edition, and what a cracking field it has produced. Rainman, do you think Team Godolphin and James McDonald can land their first Cox Plate here?
I think Animo is going to be very tough to beat here, Benny. He is the clear favourite in the Ladbrokes market. He's just done nothing wrong this preparation. Animo, first up win in the Winged Stakes was excellent. Followed that up with his victory in the George Main Stakes. And it was his victory in the Might and Power at Caulfield that to me just showed just how good a horse he is. He wobbled around the turn. He had plenty of ground to make up late, and he was able to do exactly that. So for me, it's hard to see any of the horses that finished behind him in the Might and Power turn the tables on him. So I just think he was so good that day. We've seen before last year in the Ladbrokes Cox Plate when he arguably should have won the race, that the Valley holds no fears for him. So Animo, clearly the horse to beat for mine. I'll be cheering loudly on Saturday. The main danger, the X factor in the race of mine is the International El Bogadon. We know how good a record these Northern Hemisphere 3-year-olds have in all our major races, but particularly the Ladbrokes Cox Plate. You can make an argument that his form heading into the Ladbrokes Cox Plate is superior than that of State of Rest 12 months ago. State of Rest won a Group 1 in America, but El Bogadon's European form is definitely superior to that of State of Rest. So he's the main danger for mine, but I think Animo is going to be extremely tough to beat.
I too think Animo is our winner here. He's proven he's adaptable on all different tracks, all track conditions, and on all race tempos. He's now a 6-time Group 1 winner, and he comes into the race unbeaten 3 out of 3 this preparation. His usual pattern throughout his whole career is to peak 4th up. I think he'll be hitting the 106 to 107 range on the weight for age performance scale, and I think that'll be too much for his opposition. Zaki should lead here from barrier 1. He'll hit the front at the 300 metres, but the Valley is going to absolutely erupt when Animo, drawn barrier 4, sitting in the 1-1, slides off his back and begins his march onto champion status. Rainman, we're painting the town blue in both of the features, but what's your best bet outside of the Group 1s for the entire carnival?
Yeah, sticking clear of Godolphin for the best bet. I think it's a really good card for best bets. There's a few horses I do quite like, but my best bet of the carnival comes in race 3, number 2 on the Saturday, the Red Anchor Stakes. Sweet Ride has been racing really well. Got form around Best of Bordeaux, has form around In Secret. I think that form from Sydney 3-year-old form is just superior to that of the Melbourne 3-year-old form at the moment. So I think Sweet Ride is going to be extremely tough to beat in the Red Anchor Stakes. Race 3, number 2, Sweet Ride.
My best bet comes up in the Drummond Golf Vase over 2,040 metres. It's race 7. I think Barclay Square is going to be very, very hard to hold out. He started $4.80 in the Caulfield Guineas and he was without luck at a key stage in the race. He's obviously looking for this trip now. And we know the Vase has been a great race for favourites in the last couple of years. The likes of Forgot You and Cherry Tortoni. It's a good horses race. And this horse is drawn perfectly in barrier 7 also. Craig Williams will have options. We know we've seen him lead and win, and we've also seen him come from well behind and win. So he's also tactically versatile, and I do think he could be the best horse that Dan O'Sullivan has trained. He could be knocking on the door of a Group 1 next start. That's all we have time for the 2022 Ladbrokes Cox Plate Carnival Valley Form. Enjoy the weekend. We can't wait to see you here packing the grandstands. Have an enjoyable weekend and good luck on the punt.